Phillip Loken. I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Raleigh, North Carolina, with a concentration on digital photography, analog photography, video art, and collage. I also work under the self-given title of Black Southern Culture Documentarian. And I've added QR codes, from Lee had a great presentation as well too, but I kind of, when she did that, I was like, oh shit, I did that too. So I added QR codes for a bio that's actually linked to my website, and then my artist resume that kind of details some of my work. So you can kind of look at those, scan it up, look at it while I'm talking about everything. It'll help tie things together. But I'll go ahead and get into my artist statement. I'm a 27-year-old Raleigh-based Black photographer driven by community, Black identities, and realness. Being Black and from the South, born in Texas, raised all throughout North Carolina, we are the original African Americans due to slavery. With my work, I hope to capture some of the raw realities of Black people in the South, the authentic, fluid range of existences and experiences that society often does not acknowledge or cherish. With a perspective-driven focus, I hope to capture Southern African American life and its rich culture, from food and music to the people and even the land. Our culture is always an inspiration and influence that could never be unseen in my work. I take pride in the fact that a large majority of my subjects are Black people. As a Black photographer, I feel a deep responsibility to tell the stories of people in our communities, because all too often our narratives are controlled by people who don't look like us and don't understand us. We are a beautiful people with multifaceted lives full of complexity and many other elements. Throughout my visual art career, I aim to consistently produce socially engaging and meaningful work that lets those with a voice be heard. With those without a voice be heard. My work as a whole will continue to be a self-portrait of anyone who feels they aren't seen, and it will let them know they matter, are powerful, and are capable of anything. So in regards to my work, this is a project that I've actually been working on since 2020, and it's something that I haven't fully kind of like put out there. I've hinted a little bit with some of the posts that I put up on social media, but it's more of a project that I'm working on getting a lot of the content together before I kind of fully go forward with it, because I've also applied for grants and done a lot of things to get more financial backing for it. But once more of the pieces are put together, that's when I'll kind of jump out. If I end up getting a grant for it, I'll definitely be more public with it. But it's called the SelfLove Project. The SelfLove Project is a photo book featuring images of 30 Black people with gaps in their front teeth, all images that I photographed. The SelfLove Project is a celebration of our perfect imperfections. Through my own research, I've found out that gaps in your teeth are not automatically unhealthy. You can have a gap and have perfectly healthy teeth. The only time dental work should be considered is if the gap causes you discomfort or you genuinely want it changed without the influence of anyone else's judgment. Alongside the images, the text aspect of my SelfLove Project photo book will be relating African culture to American culture in regards to, let me say this real quick, in regards to the gap in your teeth. In African culture, gaps in your teeth are revered as beautiful, unique, and even coveted. Some African people have even been known to get plastic surgery to insert a gap in their teeth. American culture is completely opposite. In American culture, everyone needs perfect, straight, and white teeth. I'm still working out the full details of the text aspect, whether it's going to be interviews, essays, captions, or something like that. But the book will not be released until the text aspect is completed as well. And I've been talking with various other people, and this is more than likely going to be an exhibition as well too, but it started out as just a photo book project. So another part of my work, a series that I've been kind of continually working on, is gentrification of the South. This image is called East Chapel Hill, North Carolina 1. The medium is a digital scan of 35mm film that I shot in 2020. And this is one of basically 7 images from that same title. And at the time, well, right now I'm living in Raleigh, North Carolina, but at the time that I shot this, I had been living in Chapel Hill. So this is kind of a description for that piece. I've been living in Chapel Hill for almost 2 years now, and every so often I'll go on a walk to just check out what's near me. This is a photo of a new apartment complex being built that I'm sure will be extremely expensive housing. Whenever I pass the construction for the new complex, I immediately think of how anyone who has lived here before, or anyone who has lived here longer than me, may feel about this, because I've been here a short time and I already hate that they're doing this. All these people see is money, not the hardships that now exist, and those coming for anyone who lives near the area are those who've been completely displaced due to this new property. Here's another piece from the Gentrification of the South series. It's called East Raleigh, North Carolina 1. And I'm actually from East Raleigh. It's kind of between East and Southeast Raleigh. But with that being said, I'll get into a kind of general description that I've used for gentrification. I pulled this from a website called urbandisplacement.org. And the definition I work with is a process of neighborhood change that includes economic change in a historically disinvested neighborhood by means of real estate investment and new higher income residents moving in, as well as a demographic change, not only in terms of income level, but also in terms of changes in the education level or racial makeup of residents. Now, the description of this piece is, I've lived all over North Carolina since I was 4, but I've lived in East Raleigh from about 12 to 13 to 25. Seeing this area change is so aggravating. Even shooting this made me mad for many reasons, but one in particular is that I know these businesses aren't hiring people from the communities out here. I use the Food Mart sign on the right side of the picture as a bit of a marker for what East Raleigh used to be. If you're familiar with gentrification, you can tell where it's happening in this photo. So it's basically on the right side. And one of the things that I always kind of detail is this is a very familiar shopping center area that I've come to. I've met people out there, hung out there. There used to be a thrift store that was there. There used to be a laundromat that was there. There also used to be a flea market that was literally replaced by another larger business. And the thing that I really remember is, I've made memories out there, but outside of that, there are people who use these places as real serious resources. And then just, a flea market, there's families that I know who made great income from that flea market, and now it's just some other business. There's no idea what they have to do with that, but I know for a fact that businesses that are there now have not employed the people that were living in that area. So another project that I wanted to share with you all is called October Embers. It's in collaboration with a friend of mine. Her business is called CV Imagery, and October Embers, named after Ben's poem for Bev in 2017's It, with a Halloween twist, is a project inspired by Black horror and Stephen King's It. We recreated some aesthetics from the film, incorporated some of my own creative elements with the location choices, and brought some new creepy interpretations all around. This was a great project for a lot of reasons, but the most important one for me was it showcased a side of myself that I don't show too often, my genuine love for horror. And this is actually, so there's 15 images in the whole series. I just chose 3 for the presentation. And the image on the left side is the gravesite location featured in a few images of, the gravesite location featured in a few of the images is called the Faithful Slave Memorial. And too many times we are fed our own Black history in the form of faithful slaves, not so bad masters, plantation owners, and literally a whole lot of bullshit. And me being in North Carolina, like that's something that's very particular because there's plantations that are up here, and it's a great piece of historical history to kind of go back and see these things. But at the same time, the people who own it, I'm guessing the families, the descendants of the original people, they always depict these plantations as not that bad, or the master wasn't, he wasn't that bad or whatever. But it's like, bro, it's a master, it's a plantation. Like, don't, what I'm saying? Be real about that. But slavery was not happy. Slavery was horror. The text of the memorial should be, it was legible in the images, but I had to scale it down so you can't really see it too much here. But it says, in memory of the faithful slaves, many of whom were members of Hawfields Presbyterian Church and are buried in this cemetery, we buy thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee the crown of life. Revelations 2:10. This is terrible in so many ways, but the most important are the happy and faithful slave narratives and Christianity's part in strengthening slave owners' hold on Black people and their slaves. This memorial was erected in 1922. So another project that I wanted to share with you all was called Break the Internet, and it's a collaboration with a recording artist by the name of Josh Fonzarelli. And I don't think he's in here now, but he actually did pop in here for a little bit. So it was very cool. We've been friends since college. But so this is one image from a series of 5, and this image was honestly never even meant to be seen. This photo shoot was originally going to be used for album artwork. The album was called Break the Internet, and the artist was Josh Fonzarelli. He brought the idea of lighting his old laptop on fire to me, and I helped bring it to life. All real flames in this image. There's so much going on in the photo that you can't even see. An entire abandoned bus was to the left of the image. Our mutual friend Julian standing near me, and the fog on the left from the early morning. I shot this in 2015 and loved the images, but the project was never released, so the images never came out. In 2019, I was asked to be a part of a traveling photo archive dedicated to the relationship between North Carolina's hip hop community and the photographers who document it. And this image and another one, this image and another one were actually the photo set that was chosen for the exhibition. And that exhibition was actually going on to be shown at North Carolina's Museum of History. So that was a big highlight within my artistry that kind of helped push me further. And the next piece I'm showing you is, it's called Conquer Your Fears, but the entire project was titled Pilot Mountain. And this is the first image of a series of 20. And this photo means a lot to me because I went to Pilot Mountain. It's probably a popular area in North Carolina, but I went to Pilot Mountain spontaneously when I needed to clear my mind. It really helped. I have a slight fear of heights, and so taking this image was a true challenge. That's why it's also entitled Conquer Your Fears. I wish I would have measured how high I was up, but just from looking at the picture, I'm sure you can kind of get an idea of it. And I shot this, the lenses that I shoot with are mainly, well, I have a 50mm lens. I have a 18 to 135, but this was shot with my fisheye lens, and I kind of like to do different creative things on there. I included my body to give it a more, a real perspective, so you can kind of feel how like the height of the image altogether. But so another series of work that I do are character studies, and this is one of the images from them. This piece is called Character Studies, Stillmatic, Brazo, and Kuma Sticks 4. I shot this image in 2019, and I just want to, this is just a general thing, not glorifying gang culture or belittling the Black unity that stems from it. I'm simply showcasing a reality that few people can understand or relate to in any aspect. The surreal aspect of the purple sky was just another creative touch. I use this description to align this photograph and the other pieces that are under the kind of umbrella of character studies. A portrait is usually a premeditated plan to present the subject in the most favorable or flattering pose. Character studies are another thing entirely. They portray real people doing real things in the real world. So the growth that I've gained from being a part of the Young Curators program is definitely more structure, because there was, through the entire process of it, a lot of the things that we were doing were pieces that I kind of had already incorporated into my artistry, but doing these things with homework assignments, study questions, and really writing things down helped me really structure a lot of stuff out. Like, I'm already an organized person, but just effectively constantly beating it into my head specifically, like, that really helped me a lot. And also, this isn't to kind of like specifically express, the growth or whatever, but in general, the Young Curators program has given me a great international network of artists, the people that are here who presented all that type of stuff. And we're always, whether it's in the chat that we have or just like on social media, we're always talking to each other about something. So, and it's cool to really see everybody else develop as well too, like, it's great artists here. So what I wanted to do is also touch on the challenges I face as an artist, but in, what is that? Whatever. Well, I don't even know the word for it, whatever. I wanted to offer some solutions as well too, just because I'm like a very solution oriented person. The first one was finances to fund projects and experimentation. I recently got a new digital marketing job, and that helps a lot with funding. It also helps my artistry in general, because I work for a nonprofit book publishing company that focuses on telling Southern stories. So with that, we published a lot of books for books that were made by Black people, a lot of different cookbooks related to, just Black people's lives and African-American studies and just all these types of things. And also stuff we released a book with an artist that wrote a whole book on Outkast and the history of them as a musical group, So it's just stuff like that. Those little things, they help by also, funding my life, covering expenses and everything. But on top of that, also tying into my artistry, telling Black Southern stories. And another thing was finding the time to do everything that I want. I don't have the worst time management now because everything does get handled. I work well under pressure, but personally, like, I do feel rushed, and I try to finish everything in a short amount of time. And every day I'm learning how important rest and moderation in work is. So I am growing in that aspect. And like I said, like, I work well under pressure. I honestly say it as a sad thing, because I don't like working like that all the time. I can do that, but constantly being in that mind state and just dealing with all that is just not the best place to be. But since genuinely focusing on the expansion of my reach, I've gained, so expanding the reach of my work. Since genuinely focusing on the expansion of my reach, I've gained opportunities like the Young Curators program. I've had meetings with art consultants, networked with well-known photographers, gotten more press and stuff like that as well too. And then the last one that I think is an interesting question I'm going to kind of pose at the end as well too, my location in reference to my career and personal life. At times, I feel like I need to leave to grow, but I don't want a new location to negatively impact my work. I also plan to gain some accolades over the next couple of years through my digital marketing job, that will help me get even better positions and become more financially stable. I'm not opposed to going full-time as an artist because I've definitely done it multiple times. It was unsuccessful in my eyes just because of, it didn't fully pan out how I wanted it to. But I do like the security and less stress that comes with having a job while pursuing my artistry. As mentioned before, I work well under pressure, but I really don't want to continue that. And these are the questions that I'm posing for discussion. And because these are questions that I ask myself, and I would just, love to get everybody's opinion or anything. How much would you pay for a frame 30 by 45 inch or 40 by 60 inch piece of my work? What or who does my work remind you of? How do you think I can improve my presentation of my work? Where do you see my work in 2026? And do you think my location is a hindrance or a staple to my work? And I also included my bio and resume QR codes again, just so you can kind of get another feel for that. So yeah. I'll keep this up in case you want to scan codes or anything, but I'll take it down if I need to. So just let me know.
Can I answer one of your questions about your location?
Oh, yeah.
I think no matter where you are, I think you have the potential to capture it beautifully. So I don't think it's going to hinder your vision necessarily. And I think you'd actually be able to flip it rather. If it looks plain, there's little elements you can pick up on.
I definitely appreciate that.
Your work reminds me of All Gas No Brakes. I don't know why. Or Channel 5, rather.
Probably see. What was the name again? You said All Gas No Brakes.
Yeah, but Andrew Callahan is not with that collective anymore because they got him into a contract when he was really young, and they overworked him to shit. So it's just Channel 5 on YouTube. Just Channel 5.
Channel 5.
You won't regret it. You will not regret it.
Nice. But cool. I'm definitely, please, if any of y'all have any thoughts on the questions, the presentation, my work, I'm definitely here to hear it. Like, this is my first critique ever, so this is what I was here for.
I do actually have a question for you. So I love your work. I resonate a lot with your photography because I too really love documentary photography, and I find myself doing documentary photography as like my own personal thing. So my question for you is, how do you come up with, or what is your creative process for those kinds of shoots? Just because I know documentary photography for me usually tends to be more in the moment. So I've been trying to kind of mix the making shoots or the creative process with the documentary photography a lot more. So what's your process for that?
Yeah, it's really just spur of the moment stuff. Honestly, my background is where it ties in from, because it's crazy. I never picked up a camera out of wanting to creatively express myself. I was actually running a streetwear blog through Tumblr. I did that for about 4 to 5 years, and I needed original images. So I picked up a used camera, and then from then on, I kind of just really liked expressing myself through that blog. So it developed into first shooting fashion photography, and then I kind of just went on a rampage of just shooting everything till I could find out what exactly I wanted to. And through there, I just shot a lot of events, and that's where I kind of got better with capturing specific moments. And then from then on, it kind of just got into me maturing and caring about different topics and social issues and stuff like that. So I would go to certain things, capture those moments, and really be on top of that. But a lot of it comes from spur of the moment. Yeah, I have one digital camera, but I have so many different film cameras, and it's literally just I'll pick something up today and be like, okay, I'm about to shoot this, and then something just pops up, and I'm like, yo, let me grab that real quick. But yeah, it's really very spur of the moment. Nothing is really planned. Definitely not with the documentary work.
I'm gonna jump in real quick. Phil, first of all, you have a career, so you are full-time in your art.
Oh yeah, so well, I am full-time in my art. It's just I will say I'm not financially full-time in the art. I'm financially in my digital marketing stuff, but
do you use your art in your digital marketing?
Sometimes I do. With the book publishing and stuff, they know of my work and they actually like my work a lot too. I'm looking to incorporate that in, but of course, you already know, need that check for it. So we're gonna work that part out. But yeah.
So the difference is that it's a career for you and you want it to be a business that you own. Is that the difference?
As far as my artistry, I don't know. I kind of like both aspects of it. I'm not specifically looking, well, I don't want to say that because I have fully mapped out a kind of a life as far as like an end goal with my photography. And that is, you know, on the fine art side, museum acquisitions, art collectors, artist talks, this, that, and the third. And I think photography, or just that lane of visual art medium, is very special in the sense of I can go the fine art route and also commercial, and it can still be like very well. Because with the fine art, like I mentioned, I plan to go commercial with it while doing assignments for larger publications, collaborations with larger brands. I have some great projects planned, like community-based projects as well too. It's just like I said, getting the financial backing for it, getting the right sponsorships from brands in the area, and just, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, it really is going to turn into a career more than anything. The digital marketing has always just been something that was kind of I like numbers. I like stuff like investing and stuff like that as well too. But digital marketing and that job stuff has always just been something that kind of sustained me, while my photography and art was what I love. I've been an artist my whole life. So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's still all part of you, is what I'm saying to you. I don't think I don't even know that you got to let go of one. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that you have to. I mean, even me being full-time as an artist, I haven't let go of my marketing because I enjoy it. So, you know, I don't think that you have to choose. So I'm thinking that you may want to take that pressure off of yourself.
that's definitely another thing too. I'm glad you said that. I'm very hard on myself at times, and pressure and all that stuff. Like it gets deep, but I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Yeah, take the pressure off of yourself in that way. And then, you know, when I look at, I'll answer the question about the location as well too. I mean, you talked a lot about your work being resembling of the South.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, why would you leave? You know what I'm saying? Because your art is pinpointed towards that way. Because if you do, you're gonna keep traveling back to where your subject is
Exactly.
in that particular way. So if that is your focus, stay to what your focus is, you know, and it will build.
I will also say, just definitely not to cut you off or anything,
Go
but
ahead.
you know, like from being out here in Raleigh, seeing things change, all that stuff, like it's a lot of stuff going out here. That's why it's a bit of me being like, yo, I may need to move, because it's like at a danger level type of thing. You know, like I'm in different areas, I'm with different people, like it's a lot of stuff going on all the time. So, and it's the fact that I've been out here longer. It's not like I'm just kind of like a different person that's just, oh, let me show up and be out here for us. It's like, no, people know me. It's a whole lot of different type of stuff people hate, like, and it can get very ugly real quick. So well, that's why, yeah.
If you want to do that, then you can travel to cover the subjects that you want to, because it's not just, that question is not just professional, it's also personal too. Then
yeah, very
you know,
true.
it's wrapped in both. So you need to make the decision that combines the two, you know, in that way as well. So I think it's harder for anyone else to answer that question. You're going to have to answer that question because it is personally wrapped up as well. When I hear what you're saying.
I definitely agree. And it also is like there's opportunities that are kind of coming to me right now from being out here. Like I was just emailing with a new curator at the Museum of Art out here, and she's considering me for a couple exhibitions that are coming up. So it's like, you know, if I move, I'm not going to have those opportunities. But my thing is, even for this job, just to build accolades, I plan to be out here at least 1 to 3 years. But if anything, if I move from North Carolina, I'm still going to be in the South, because it's like, I love the South. Like my family is from Florida on my mother's side. Like I just love the whole energy that's out here.
It's embedded in you. It's who you are. Yeah, it's who you are.
You know, like
you can't let that go.
Yeah,
it's who you are. So you'll always be back. You know what I'm saying? So embrace it is what I'm saying, and then you can figure out how you continue to, you know, have it in your work. The last thing I say, when you asked the question about my work in 2026. You say multidiscipline, but you really sound multimedia to me. And I think that's something that you that's what your work shows, is multimedia. From the film side to the photography side to the techniques to use. I'm particularly excited that you're still using analog in such a digital space, you know, in that way. So, you know, it may be that you embrace being a multimedia artist, particularly with the digital marketing being something that you know and you understand. So you know how to use that tool in a multimedia world as well, too. So I think as you move forward with your work, you may want to embrace it because you keep improving your skill. I mean, you're about technique. you know, and anything that's coming new, while you also capture the traditional, is also embedded in the narrative that you talk and the work that you show as well too. You do black and white very well.
Thank you. Thank you. I really whether it's my film photography or my digital photography, I use black and white always as kind of like a dramatic effect, you know, especially with that image with the gravesite, because I do have an image of it in color and I like it a lot, but the black and white really hones in on that. You know, I have it was so much work I wanted to include in this presentation. Like, it was another series that I did. It was literally called the Horrors of Stagville Plantation. And like that literally all black, you know, it's beautiful images at the core of it, you know, but outside of, you know, at the core of it is beautiful images, but, you know, understanding the history and what I'm actually documenting, I don't want it to be viewed as like beautiful. It's like, this is horrible, this is terrible, and this is what needs to be expressed in the images, and the black and white gets those dramatic effects.
So even multimedia documentarian wouldn't, because again, people will automatically know that when they come to you, there's different media that you're going to use in order to document their story, historical stories, whatever that may be. It probably will be a stronger stance for you to stand in, and as you grow your work as well. And then as you grow your skill, because you're going to be excited about things that come on the market, you know, things and skills that actually you can use in your work in order to tell the story even better. So those are things that I see that resonate very strong in your work. I even looked at your Instagram post. Looks like that Cadillac that you did in black and white. That
yeah.
is that photo is fire. So at the end of the day, these, you know, these are multimedia type of work that you do, you know, and it will commit the last point, because of the pandemic in production, a lot of people with multimedia skills did well. They did very well. Most people I know in multimedia between 3 times to 4 times tripled did their income.
Oh yeah. I was doing freelance marketing too. Like I was definitely getting that off. My thing with the freelance marketing is like, I'm not a person that really wants to deal with a whole bunch of different clients. So it just gets aggravating after a while, but I'm always find my way to use my skills to get extra money. So
yeah, so these people didn't do marketing. They strictly did multimedia.
Ooh.
And their salary went up 3 and 4 times. They were always scared, almost scared to let people know because people were suffering in a pandemic, but they were in so high demand because of having that skill. Because again, we went so digital, and so we're on Zoom right now, you know, and production it ramped up so that they already had the skills embedded in them and then didn't have to go find them.
Nice. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And I also wanted to, I've been looking at some of the messages. I appreciate all the kind words, like seriously. And then Deja was touching on the film and everything. That's something that like, I'm kind of touching my resources as far as learning more of the darkroom. Cause there's in North Carolina, well at Duke, they have a documentary studies censor. And I know a few visual artists who have worked with them very closely. And then I have connections to get into there. So it's like the space that I'm moving with my artistry, like there's so much just going on within personal life, within the digital marketing career and all this other type stuff. Like I'm moving through it at a comfortable, like, okay pace that I can, while also, you know, doing a little more, but I can't go as crazy as I want to just because it's just too much going on. But definitely getting in that darkroom and learning how to process my own film is a big piece of what I want to do, because I want to be completely self-sustaining with my artistry. I don't want to have to send my stuff out anywhere to get it done. I don't want to have to contact this print lab to print my pieces. Like I want to be able to do all that type of stuff. And I know over time, I'm just building up my own personal in-home studio and then, you know, going into getting my own space and doing all that type of stuff. But
no, you're definitely in the right space. Cause Phil and I have talked. I went to school in North Carolina, so you are definitely in the right space for the arts and especially for photography and the darkroom. Duke also has I believe it's a master's program in specifically documentary photography. And there's so many dark rooms out in North Carolina. So if you need those resources, I got you. And when I come down, we can definitely connect.
oh, yeah.
Great job on your presentation, everybody that presented tonight. Y'all, my mental clock is not here, but you guys all did an amazing job with presenting. So thank you all, YCP, Karen, Joe, everybody. If there was any guests in the room today, thank you guys for joining. As always, it's a pleasure. This is our little wrap up. So that's all I have. Kiki, do you have any final words?
Sure. I just want to say, well, let me just give you my comment Phil. I'm super excited to looking into pricing with you. So,
Yes.
we get to have our session, our one-on-ones for everybody that decided to produce a presentation today. Is going to have a one-on-one session with me. So I definitely want to think through the question a little bit deeper with you, and um, like look some things up and discuss it and get into your costs of production and things like that, because that's pretty much what we're gonna be able to have to know in order to know. Just it's not just like a what will you pay. It's um, want to know for you the cost of production and things like that. So um, I think your work is fire, and I love how well you know who you are and what you're about. You're conceptually so tight with everything. I love that album cover. I love that those character studies. You really have such a great grasp of the moment and the place and time, and you invite us into that world with such a great, again, sense of clarity. I love the storytelling that you infuse with the way that you present, and your website. For all of those that haven't seen, please go check his website out. He just did a really recent website update. Very great job with that. So just the level of professionalism that you show is sets a great example of what can be done, how to monetize your talent, because at the end of the day, yes, we don't always get to um, focus on the path on our biggest talent or what we want, but you guys have multiple skills and gifts that allow you to connect with the people that are going to help you. Those talents and skills allow you to be in environments where art buyers, collectors are located, and have intelligent, conversations, something to offer, not just, hey, buy my work. It's I can make your company better. I can add value in many ways. Um, Deja is a great example of what she does for TFA, being a photographer. That's just happens to be one of the things that she can do, in addition to the many things that we do together, administratively and organizationally and strategically. So when you're talking about the future, you all are the future, as entrepreneurs, as activists, as educators. All of you have those things, like in you and in what you're presenting and how you're grappling and exploring things. So I just want to say that I got so much out of each and every one of you. So grateful for your presence in this program. And that is all that I have to say. I appreciate everyone that stayed to support each other.